In this time of our existence, I think stress is a major problem for so many people. If we look at statistics over the last year, we've gone up about 5% in the percentage of Americans that are overweight or obese. Of course, we can look at that as emotional eating, right? Number one is emotional eating. We look at the online alcohol sales increasing 1,000% in 1 year. Once again, many people will look for anything to alleviate stress, to not have to deal with stress quite easily. Quite frankly, how is it that we deal with stress? There's so much uncertainty. There's so much unknown. I mean, you look at the virus, you can't see it. You have no idea if we're around somebody that has it, which creates stress. Maybe you have a family member, a loved one who has COVID right now, which is stress. We work a lot with first responders. And as a matter of fact, this Saturday, on my radio show, I have an incredible first responder from New York City who's going to talk about, from her perspective, the stress that first responders are going under. And it's much bigger than most of us could ever imagine. And then we look at our veterans. We look at our veterans' family. We look at active military personnel and what just happened in Afghanistan and their families. And we go, my God, the world is exploding with stress, isn't it? Now, we can look at all these individuals, you and I, and veterans and active military first responders. We can look at anyone in the world and say, well, where the hell do we start? Where do we start to try to get control when our stress feels out of control? Because a lot of times it is. And the very first exercise I'm going to give you is one in writing, because we believe in the power of writing. As a matter of fact, my business partner, Dennis Postema, is a co-host with two programs we just created, helpveteransheal.org and helpingfirstrespondersheal.org. And he'll agree with me. As a matter of fact, he wrote a journal, a book on gratitude that allows us to express our emotions. And writing is everything. So grab a pen right now. And this is what I want you to do. When you think about the amount of stress you're under on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning zero stress, minimal stress, 10 meaning I am maxed, where are you? What is your perspective? Are you at a 2? Are you at a 9? Are you at a 5? Are you at an 8? I think this is a good place to begin when we're talking about stress, because we need a perspective, right? We need to be able to say, yeah, this is one of the most stressful times in my life, or, well, honestly, things aren't all that bad, but I'm worrying about things that haven't happened yet, right? So then so that's the first exercise, is what's my perspective? If you ask me that question right now, 1 being no stress at all, 10 being I'm stressed out of my mind, I'm probably at a 3 or a 4, which is manageable, right? And it might interfere with some of my thinking during the day, but it's highly manageable. So that's exercise number 1. Number 2 is to write down the major stressors you're going through. Is it financial? Is it relationship? Is it health? Is it career? Like, just write down the major ones, the ones that have your attention. Then next to it, write down, is it in my control or out of my control? If it's in your control, then baby, the whole task now is to create a game plan in writing of, how am I going to grow this business? How am I going to save my side of the relationship? How am I going to quit this addiction? How am I going to make more money? How am I going to get a new job, right? If the stress is something that's in your control, then we need to take control. Maybe hire a professional, get guidance on how to set a game plan to change that one area of your life. But if it's out of your control, then this is where I'm going to ask you to go deeply into faith. If it's out of your control, surrender it to your higher power, surrender it to God, surrender it to universal light. And every time that stressor comes out that's totally out of your control, surrender, surrender, surrender. I just got off the phone with an adult client whose 40-year-old child is struggling once again, and struggling financially, and this couple has helped their adult child every time, bailed them out, enabled them, right? And it's created so much stress because the adult child in their 40s keeps coming back for more. So they're stressed. So what's in their control is to decide to set boundaries and consequences. If they're going to help their adult child again in their 40s get out of a financial mess, then there's got to be boundaries and consequences. We'll loan you this amount of money, but this is what needs to be paid back every week, right? I mean, there's got to be something. Stress doesn't have to rule our existence, but many times it does, simply because of the fact that we are trying to control things that are out of our control, and we're not taking specific action steps for those things that are in our control. Recently, I talked to we're having a first responder come on this weekend, Saturday, for our radio show, and I was working with another first responder from the other side of the country, as a matter of fact, and she was telling me that right now one of the most difficult things is to decide where the priority is. Like she goes on her job and her supervisor says, here's 10 things that need to be done today, and she has to prioritize the most important ones. That's not done for her. Now, before her and I talked about prioritizing the most important tasks, her whole day was a stress ball. She was just constantly flitting from this to this, and at the end of the day, not getting much done. Now she has her list, and she goes in and she prioritizes as a first responder what she believes the most important individual to take care of or the most important task. Now, with the last couple of weeks of just doing this one exercise every day, her stress level has dropped by over 50%. So listen, I don't care if you work in a bakery or you're a fireman, if you are a hairstylist or you're a veteran challenged, if you are a plumber or you're an active military stressed out to the max. Go to, if you're a veteran or active military, go to helpveteransheal.org, and our program is going to be filled with stress reducing tips. If you're a first responder, go to our other site, helpingfirstrespondersheal.org. And again, you're going to find tons of information. We'll give you books and TV videos, inspirational shows to lift your spirits. And if you're like me, an everyday American, then go to talkdavid.com, and I'll put these links below, and I'll help you one-on-one. But I want you to know this: stress is affecting me. It's affecting everyone in the world. It's not the fact that we have stress that's the problem. It's how we deal with it or don't deal with it is the issue. Please share this video. Let other people know there's tips out there to help us move through this time. And if I can help you, go to the one of the 3 sites below, okay? Have a beautiful day. I'm David Essel, talkdavid.com.